This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football, and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club, every day.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello and welcome to a special episode of Daily English Premier League here, brought to you by Global Sports Podcast Network. My name is Michał Czarniecki. And I am joined by my, I can say co-host easily because Louis, you're free to ask any questions whenever you feel like it. Louis Easton, Liverpool fan, glad to have you here.
Thank you very much for having me. It feels like yet another special episode here on Daily English. Yet another one.
Yes, and I love it. I love the thrill. I love the hype around those episodes, and I'll tell you why. Because for the first time in recent history, English and a Polish team will meet in the European Cup competition in the quarterfinal. I was born in 1999, so I do not remember the last instance during which Polish club and an English club would meet together in the quarterfinal. So that is a first for me. And of course, it's Legia Warsaw taking on Chelsea in the very first leg on April 10th for that place in the semi-final of the Conference League. So we had to come up with something special, and lo and behold, here is the guy who knows everything about Legia Warsaw, or Legia Warszawa, as we Poles say. The guy who works for the official broadcaster of Champions League in Poland, CANAL Plus, and he used to work for many years in Legia as well, and his name is Kuba. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm really excited.
It's my pleasure, guys. I'm pleased to meet you. I actually, at the beginning, I have to tell you that Legia played against the Premier League team in, I think it was even semi-final. It was Cup Winners' Cup, so you definitely don't remember that. 1991, Legia played against United. Legia lost, and it's not a surprise. But Legia was leading in that game 1-0 in Poland. Then they scored 3 goals, and that's how the Legia's episode in the Cup Winners' Cup ended.
I am so glad that I did this disclaimer that in recent history that I might remember. I'm so glad that I did that disclaimer because now I'm not embarrassed in front of entire audience. So the main aim of this episode is to give a more detailed look at the opponents of Chelsea, Legia Warsaw, and to present that Legia Warsaw should not be treated as just any other team in Conference League that Chelsea can just easily put in the W column. So, Kuba, obvious first question is, if you were to give us a summary of what Legia Warsaw is and what Chelsea should expect from them, what would you say?
It's quite a wide question, I would say. Because what Legia Warsaw is, this is the most titled club in Polish football history. This is the club who played in Champions League as the last Polish club. It was in 2016, so it's quite a long time ago. But still, that was some kind of achievement for us. But maybe not in Champions League, but Legia quite regularly plays in European competition. 2 times in history in Champions League, very often in Europa League, now in Conference League, and I think that Legia is quite meaningful in the Conference League. So, as I told you, the most titled club in Polish football history, a lot of championships, officially 15, unofficially 16, but it's a hell of a different story. So, officially it's 15 championship titles, 20 caps, 5 Super Cups. So, it's the strongest side in Poland, definitely.
And sorry, Michał, I just want to say, Legia obviously not having their best season they've ever had recently. Is this a sign of Polish football potentially becoming more competitive in recent years? Or is this a very good time for Chelsea to be playing Legia?
Yes and no. Yes, Legia doesn't have the best season. It's quite... I would say it's quite a kind of an euphemism because fans are furious. Legia lost the chances to win a title. Like mathematically, Legia can win, but it's just mathematically. Legia lost hopes for titles in maybe not in January, but in February. So it was very early as for Legia. But you have to remember one thing. When Legia realized that they will not win a championship, and I think that they put all the effort in cup, because if you win the cup, Legia now will be playing in final. Yesterday was semi-final. They beat Ruch Chorzów, the second division team, 5-0. So as I told you, it's kind of meaningful. It's a meaningful thing to play in the cup and to win the cup, because it gives you an opportunity to play in European cups. But believe me that it's completely different team in European cups. European nights in Warsaw are something different than regular days. It's not just about Chelsea, but previously, like okay, maybe Bachka Topola or Dinamo Brest, they weren't the best teams, but still, Legia beat Real Betis Sevilla this year, and this team is quite good. I think so. You cannot underestimate Legia when Legia is playing in European Cups. Never, because even the biggest teams were coming to Warsaw, like Real Madrid. Real Madrid didn't win in Warsaw; it was draw 3-3. Aston Villa was playing against Legia, the Premier League team. It's not. It wasn't even a long time ago. It was 2 years ago, and Aston Villa came in with Martinez, the World Cup winner, in a goal, and Aston Villa lost 2-3. Leicester City played in Warsaw 3-4 years ago. They came here, they lost 0-1. So as you can see, Legia has quite good results against the Premier League teams in recent years.
You've made it interesting now.
Yeah,
well done.
Of course. Yeah, and you know what? This is there was basically no reason to bring it up during our regular episodes because, like, unfortunately, fortunately or unfortunately, depending on how you look at it, this is a Premier League podcast, so I really do not have a lot of opportunities to throw in some snippets about Legia and Jagiellonia even playing in the quarterfinals of
You
Conference
still find
League.
a way to bring Poland into the
Yes, I
discussions
do.
all
Yes,
the time.
I do. And of course, and somebody would also point out that I wear this Poland shirt from Euro 2024 almost every single chance I get. But come on, I only have one Man United shirt, so come on. It's just a lack of
one too many.
Here. One, two. Oh, right. Yeah, a Liverpool fan would say that, right? Okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and then we will delve more into the personalities, the squad of Legia Warsaw, and how they will. They can compare against the squad of Chelsea. But first, let's hear about our awesome sponsor, Bionic.
Your body is unique. And Global Sports Podcast Network has partnered with Bionic, the world's most personalised supplements. Bionic provide 100% tailor-made supplements designed to deliver precisely what your body needs at exactly the right level to optimise your health. No guessing. So click the link in the show notes. Use the code GSPN2025 for 40% off your first month's subscription. Bionic. Don't settle for off-the-shelf solutions made for just anybody. Get what's right for you right now.
Thank you, Bionic, for sponsoring our podcast. You're listening to Daily English Premier League podcast special episode, and in its entirety devolved only around, involved just with Legia Warsaw and Chelsea taking on each other in the Conference League quarterfinal. Before I ask about their personalities, let's just look at quick facts provided by, a certain well-known website. I don't know whether I can bring their name because they didn't pay us. So the total market value of Legia Warsaw is valued as 36.4 million euros. In comparison, Chelsea's value is 922 million euros as entire squad. 3 national team players provided by Legia, and as opposed to Chelsea's 14. Those are the national team players. Most valuable player from Legia Warsaw is Ruben Vinagre. He was born in 1999. He is a Portuguese left back. And his current market value stands at 4.5 million euros. In comparison, Louis, who do you think the most valuable player of Chelsea is?
Off the top of my head, I have to go Cole Palmer, surely.
Correct. Absolutely correct. Cole Palmer, he was born in 2002, Manchester, 22 years old. He is, of course, an attacking midfielder, 130 million euros. Cool. So, Kuba, based on that disproportion, just based purely on statistics as far as market value goes, how do you think this compares to the football prowess of players of Legia and Chelsea? How would you compare?
I could say a cliche that money doesn't play, and it's true, especially when you play in Warsaw. There is no point of comparing them because when you look at the statistics, the market value of Chelsea is 10 times, 10 times. What did you say? I think 20, 30 times more worth than more worthy than Legia.
36.4 million to 922 million. Yeah.
Yeah, of course, it's not very precise when you look on transfer market, but still, so this proportion is huge. But as I told you, of course, you value British players higher than Polish players. This is the first thing, and the second thing, it's hard to say that there is that big disproportion when we look at the game playing in Warsaw, because we have to add some significant factors to that game. But maybe just start asking questions, because when I'm talking about Legia, this podcast can take I think longer than an hour. So maybe just ask me a few questions, and I will do my best to answer them.
Well, what I'd like to know is what sort of style of play we can expect to see from Legia, because obviously in the Premier League, we look at it, they all play in triangles, very fast-paced, but is that something that we can expect to see, or can we expect to see more of a physical battle when we look at this team?
It's definitely will be physical battle, because if you would like to play open football against Chelsea, you will get easily 3-4 goals, and there will be nothing left to do. So it can be physical battle. People from outside, people who players who came to Poland from different leagues, even from top 5, because we actually have transfers from top 5s from time to time. Ruben Vinagre, the highest value player, is that kind of guy. He played in Premier League also. He was in Wolverhampton, in Everton, I think. He played for Sporting. So now he's rebuilding his career in Warsaw. He gets awesome round on autumn, and now he's a little bit weaker, but he had an injury, and we have to look also for that. But everyone will tell you this league is very physical, very physical. I think it's more physical than you can expect. I know that English league is known from being physical, but here the physical playing is some kind of a different level, I would say. So I expect that Legia will close itself and will be waiting for opportunities to punch. And believe me, Legia can punch, especially when they play in Warsaw. I'm talking all the time about Warsaw because you have to add one important factor: the fans. And when people from Great Britain or from America will listen to this, and they say, why are we talking about fans? It's a cliche. No, it's not cliche. When the Rangers came here, they played against Legia in Europa League. Steven Gerrard told that he has never seen something like that. When Legia played against Celtic, and Legia won 4-1 against Celtic, it was in 2014. Wow. I remember Virgil van Dijk, now the star of Liverpool, and he played for Celtic at the time. And Virgil van Dijk said it was impossible to communicate at the pitch because the crowd was roaring all the time, and it was simply too loud for him. So it can be surprising, especially, Premier League, they have the highest possible level of football, no doubt about it. Greatest players, greatest teams, richest teams. I won't be discussing about that because it's obviously true. But believe me that you may have the best football, and you have it, but the fans, Polish fans, there is no comparison between supporting Poland to supporting in England. It's just different cup of tea completely.
Yeah, and I'd just like to also ask, sorry, Michał, obviously, that's an advantage, a huge advantage. We all know that when the fans get going, especially in a European night, it can be suffocating, and it can also give huge boosts of adrenaline to the home team. But what else is an advantage with this Legia team? You talk about the physicality, but how do they work as a team? Are they a cohesive unit that can defend very well? Are they good at switching from defense to attack? What's the main strength in play for this Legia team?
I think when you look at the goals which Legia scored in Europe, 90% of those goals scored against those high-level teams, there are counter-attacks, and Legia can be very difficult in the counter-attack. In Ekstraklasa, Legia is every year Legia is a favorite to win a championship. So when Legia plays in Ekstraklasa, it struggles a lot because the teams from lower, the teams from the down from the table, the lower teams, they are very close, and it's not easily to create something. But when Legia has some space, it can really play a good football. And for sure, it's going to have space against Chelsea, because Chelsea won't come to Warsaw and won't be defending itself. Chelsea will attack, and Legia can take advantage from that. The counter-attacks can be really dangerous. The wingers, they are the best in counter-attacks. For example, we have one winger. His name is Kacper Chodyna. He's not a very tactical player. I think his greatest advantage, which he presented in Ekstraklasa in Zagłębie Lubin, from which he was bought to Legia, were counter-attacks. He's really fast, and when he will take the ball to his leg, he's really hard to catch. So I think our wings during the counter-attacks can be a huge advantage for Legia.
Sure. So you just said there about we just discussed the Legia style of play and how it will compare to Chelsea's approach, because Chelsea obviously will go full steam ahead all the way to the final in Wrocław. But the question is about Chelsea's last encounter with Copenhagen. Is there anything to take away for Legia from this game? Because I remember that in the first 45 minutes at Parken, it wasn't like Copenhagen was in a completely lost position. They closed all of the possible ways on how the Chelsea could hurt them, and they only caved because it was just that you just couldn't hold on with parking the bus for 90 minutes. Like, it just had to cave at some point, and it did. So, are there any lessons to take for Legia from Copenhagen's mistakes, or maybe lack of them?
I think, yeah, because I mentioned about counterattacks, but don't get me wrong, Legia won't close itself completely. There won't be the formation 10 players in defense. It won't happen, because for Legia's players, it's a great opportunity to finally play football. As I mentioned, in Ekstraklasa, they are at the attacking side. The other teams are closing themselves. They are defending really, really deep, and it's hard to create something. Those games are really often, to be honest, ugly. But when they have an opportunity to play football, and of course, every player will tell you that, yeah, I'm professionalist, I'm concentrating on every game, I have the same approach to every game, but it's not true. European nights are different. And the players from, especially from abroad, who come to Poland, who are 23, 24, 25, they know that if they will show themselves in Europe, they can go to much higher club. Ernest Mucci is a great example. He scored 2 goals against Aston Villa, and he was bought for 11 million to Besiktas. Besiktas is a huge club in Turkey, and in comparison to Legia, he's much higher in this European football. So for the players who have finally opportunity to show themselves, to create something, not only to try to punch this defensive wall of other Polish teams, but they can create something, they can play football. It will be great pleasure for them, and believe me, they will be motivated not for 100%, for 200 or 300%, because in the previous game of Legia, what I saw from the players, from their performances, it was hard to believe that the players who used to be average play so mature, so intense, and with such a good vision. So if you look at Legia in Ekstraklasa, it's really a different team in comparison to this European Legia, let's say.
And speaking of how those players who seemed average, they started to get their way far more often. I think that this should be accredited to one person in particular, which is the coach Gonzalo Feio. And I'm sure that if there are any Legia fans listening to me right now, they could be ready to throw whatever device they're listening our podcast on out the window violently, because they might just they might have had it with Gonzalo Feio. Okay, but before I go any further, could you please, Kuba, tell us something about the coach of Legia Warsaw, or the controversial Gonzalo Feio?
I don't think that we have enough time, to be honest. Yeah, he is. I think the most controversial coach in Ekstraklasa right now, for sure. He's a very young coach, talented, but how would I imagine that Jose Mourinho is 30 years younger. So this is that kind of approach. Every player, even the player who are at the bench, and this is significant because when you play in some teams, in some coaches team, you will be the soldier of the coach, yeah, because he lets you play. But when you are at the bench and you sit at this bench for the whole time, and still you are supporting the coach, and still you are saying that he is the best coach you have ever worked with, this is significant. So he has huge tactical knowledge. He has huge football knowledge. He really is really into football. Like he can analyze things that you wouldn't have even think that can be analyzed. But yeah, I think that his biggest problem is his personality. He is how to say that politely. Sometimes he just doesn't control himself very often. It was very popular images in Poland, but in Europe also when Legia played against the Brandby in qualification, he showed the middle fingers to Brandby fans, for example. So and he's no, yeah, he's not for that. He had problems in previous club where when he worked with he had a fight with the president of the club. So yeah, I don't know any details to be honest, so I won't be saying anything. But yeah, he is a very controversial person. Great coach, but sometimes he gets crazy a little bit.
Wow. I mean, yeah. And actually remember all of the fuss going on the internet right after that reverse tie against Brentby Warsaw, because, of course, Gonzalo Feio showed the middle finger to the fans, which wanted to accommodate the League away fans, which had come to the first leg in Denmark. It was kind of... well, let's just say that it wasn't the best of choices by Gonzalo Feio as a whole. But I think I should agree with you that Gonzalo Feio has that great tactical thinking that his predecessors, I do not think that they had either the chance to show or they didn't have the inclination to show it. So, like that could be another secret weapon. Yep.
I will add one thing. He's thinking 2 steps, 3 steps ahead. And I remember that when we had in Poland the break between the runs, I think it was in December. Premier League was still playing, but the Ekstraklasa stopped for a month. Feio flew to England to watch the Everton against Chelsea game, and everyone was making fun of him. That's why he's even watching Chelsea. Chelsea will never face Legia; it's impossible. And now Chelsea is facing Legia, so he is really like few steps against in front of most of the people.
Okay, well, really, there are so many aspects. There are so many angles from which one could look at the game, and it's just like super exciting to just go look forward to this April 10th and just to see that incredible encounter. Maybe not the most sexy encounter out there in European football, but still, it will have some certain significance. I want to switch the focus to Chelsea, but before that, let's hear another ad. This time to the platform which we use to record our podcast, which is Zencastr.
Here at the Global Sports Podcast Network, we spent a lot of time selecting our delivery platform. Zencastr came out as the clear winner. With 4K video recording from your phone, AI editing that automatically removes all those ums and ahs, it's super easy to start a podcast that sounds great and is delivered efficiently. If you're ready to tell your story, check out the link in the description to learn more about Zencastr.
Thank you, Zencastr, for allowing us to create our podcasts and the episodes of this podcast using your platform. You are listening to Daily English Premier League podcast provided to you by Global Sports Podcast Network. And our guest is Jakub Jeleński, the reporter of CANAL Poland, who is the official broadcaster of Champions League in Poland. He also used to work in Legia Warsaw for many years. So, of course, he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the Polish team. But I would like to switch the focus to Chelsea. And of course, since we've got Kuba here, and probably he's really just anticipating that Chelsea Legia encounter just as much as we do. If you were to pick out some weak spots, like some really weak formations, also weak aspect about Chelsea team that could be an advantage or some promising situation for Legia, what would that be, according to you, Kuba?
That's the question for me.
Yes.
I think that's to be honest, it's hard to say. Of course, I watch Chelsea from time to time, but I think I'm not in the greatest position to speaking about the weak points of Chelsea. First of all, I'm not watching and I'm not working in the Premier League yet, because from the next season we're going to. Of course, I watch the game, but believe me that watching the games and working with that, analyzing everything, this is some different cup of tea. But from like saying normal person, like from normal fan point of view, I don't think that Chelsea, Chelsea is not the greatest team in England now. It used to be great, but it has a lot of weak points. I don't know how many players played in Chelsea in the season. How big was the squad? But it was a madness. The Todd Boehly, he was buying the players as he wanted to. You could score one goal in Barcelona. I'm talking about Guyo, and he went to Chelsea. So I think that this team is not bonded. So I don't know if you know what I mean. But this notice they don't understand each other like let's say previous Chelsea, when you had 15 players who were playing the whole time, and the squad is changing very often. The squad playing in European competition in Conference League is completely different. So it's hard to say something about Chelsea more, but from my perspective, it's not that huge opponent to beat that than the previous Chelsea. For example, if we were talking in 2012, that would be completely different cup of tea.
Yeah.
But from my perspective, Chelsea's players are the players who are still rising. They didn't reach this high level of football yet. They are still going to that high level of football. Of course, they are 20 times better than Legia if you compare them normally. But this is not, I think, unbeatable team. The defensive line, it's can have a lot of problems. We know how many problems how big problems Chelsea had with scoring goals, with form of the strikers. So it's hard to say me like from experts' point of view, but from fan point of view, I'm not looking at Chelsea as the greatest team in football football history.
I think with Chelsea, they've become sort of flat track bullies because they only win games against teams that are really struggling. Obviously, this year, who have they actually beaten? I mean, they beat Southampton convincingly earlier this season. They picked up 3 points at home against Leicester and Wolverhampton. But as soon as they play anyone decent, for example, Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago, they lost when they went there. They lost when they went to Arsenal. Obviously, we're recording this at the time of recording this. They are currently playing Tottenham Hotspur, and they have Brentford still to play. So we can't comment on those games as much. But I think this Chelsea team just lacks a bit of consistency and lacks a bit of guile. Obviously, they're still challenging for the top 4 places this season, and they've had some boosts coming back to their squad. Obviously, Cole Palmer, Reece James has also come back, and I mean, he did very well for England in the international break. But one thing that they absolutely cannot do is they cannot underestimate this Legia team. Obviously, they've gone into Europe this season and played significantly weaker squads. I mean, I remember when that was the only time that Joao Felix was getting any time in the first half of the season. They were playing Mark Gu, who's obviously injured now. They've still got their fair share of injuries. Obviously, Romeo Lavia is still a doubt. Wesley Fofana has been injured since forever. So it will be difficult to see how Chelsea line up, but they definitely have to play a strong side to stand any chance. And to their advantage, the return leg will be at West London. And also, this is their first trip away to any stadium since they went to Copenhagen outside of London. They've played at London for the entirety of March since that Copenhagen game, and in April as well. Brentford and Spurs and Arsenal, they've all had to make very short journeys, so maybe lacking a bit of travel fatigue to their advantage as well. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to Chelsea in this game, but it's such an unpredictable match, to say the least.
And of course, once we have those conversations about Chelsea during our regular programming, sooner or later, that one question will always rise, and that is the debacle of the goalkeeper of Chelsea, Robert Sanchez. And
Yeah.
I just want to get your thoughts, Kuba, in there. Chelsea, sorry, Legia Warsaw, they have plenty of strikers that could take advantage of Robert Sanchez's sloppy goalkeeping. If you were to pick
Plenty.
out plenty, well, okay,
No.
it could be a matter of perspective. So that is why I'm asking you. Then, if you were to pick out like two dangerous players, or maybe even three dangerous players of Legia Warsaw that could try for a shot from the distance that could actually go in to the demise of Sanchez and Chelsea, who would that be?
To be honest, Lega has problems with shooting from distance. I don't remember when for the last time Lega scored from outside of the box. I think yesterday Gual scored, but to be honest, I don't remember if it was in the box already or a little bit outside from the box. Hard to say, but it was not typical goal from distance. So, frankly speaking, I don't remember when Lega scored for the last time from the distance. Seriously, I would have to think about it for a while. But talking about those strong points, we have a striker who, for many people, is the most irritating player in this team in recent 5 years. I'm talking about Margual, and yeah, that's true. He plays in irritating style. For example, for 60 minutes he cannot be present at the pitch, but then you have this moment when he gets the ball and he can easily dribble two players and score. If, for example, look at the goal which Legia scored against Molde, which gave Legia promotion to the quarterfinal. That was this blink of genius of Guard. So he was irritating for the almost 90 minutes, but in one crucial moment, he took the ball, he dribbled two players, and then he scored a goal. I think Morishita is an interesting player. He's a winger. He can only also play in the midfield as an offensive player. He is rising every game. He's rising. So now I think he has a double already, which he never did. I think in his entire career. When he came, he was really average, but from the game to game, he is getting stronger. He's quite fast. He is quite technical, and I think he can be a serious threat. Ruben Vinagre, I still believe in this player. He's left back, but he has amazing passes, amazing crosses, and that vision which is awakening in these big games. And the game against Chelsea for sure will be a big game.
Okay, so since we already mentioned maybe the weak points and the stronger points, weak points of Chelsea, strong points of Legia, then maybe we should do some justice for our beloved Chelsea fans listening to our podcast right now and tell one thing that maybe it's not going to be all nice and peachy for Legia players out there. So Louis, if you could just tell me what is the one thing that Legia players have to watch out for from Chelsea team? A one playmaker, a one footballer that could just who could make all the difference.
Well, to be honest, obviously, we will all talk about Cole Palmer. We can say that he hasn't been as good in the second half of the season. He's gone a bit quiet, but we all know his quality. Perhaps he'll be back to his best before Legia in one of these next matches at the time of recording. But I just think that team, at Chelsea midfield in particular, has so much quality. You've got Enzo Fernandez, who has been one of the best midfielders of the season. He went on a few games of a scoring streak in the first half of the season. If you remember when Chelsea were at their best, Caicedo obviously has improved so much this season. Obviously, there was a lot of pressure on him last season when he signed. Plenty of talk around his transfer saga, walking away from a Liverpool deal, opting to go to Chelsea, having a pretty difficult start there, but suddenly he's come into his own a bit more. And I think Pedro Neto is a fantastic player as well. He's got a bright future ahead of him. Maybe not one of the most talked about Chelsea players this season across the entire Premier League, but whenever you watch him, you just sense that he has that special something about him, just that sort of wonderful cross, that pace, that change of pace as well. He looks like a proper threat and a proper sort of modern winger that we all love, cutting in from the right and creating angles, creating chances. So I think those players will definitely play a huge part, and I'll also be interested to see who Chelsea play at right back as well. Whether they'll stick to Malo Gusto, whether they'll move Chalobah across, or maybe they'll just play Reece James there if they feel like he's back to his best. And we all have seen the quality of Reece James with a dead ball. We saw that ridiculous free kick he got for England. So you could just look across the entire Chelsea team and see the quality that they have. However, this is a very different environment for these Chelsea players. This is not the Premier League. This is Warsaw. This is a hostile environment to go to on an away night in Europe. So I'll be interested to see how they deal with the hot cauldron that is a European atmosphere.
Will Legia have any response to what Louis just said there? Because it looks pretty scary for Legia midfielders. What Louis just said there.
I will tell you one thing. If you compare the football quality of each players from the goalkeepers to striker, there's no chance that any Legia player will be higher than Chelsea player. That's simply impossible. And do I believe that Legia is going to get promotion? No, to be honest. In football, there's always this 1% or half a percent, but I don't believe it. But maybe I will be regretting those words, but I think that Legia is not going to lose the first game in Warsaw. I think Legia is not going to lose it. Generally, in the second game in London, I think no chances because when you ask me about the weak sides, that was a strange question for me because from my Polish perspective, talking about weak sides of Chelsea, it's almost disrespectful. That's how I would say that. But as I mentioned, this is not the strongest Chelsea in history. Of course, they have great players, but you have to remember one thing: they are not playing in Champions League. For them, Conference League, it's nothing. Like maybe not nothing, but they are not 100% serious on this Conference League. From the Polish perspective, from the perspective of like this Conference League and against Chelsea, it will be fighting for your life. Like you have on Netflix Drive to Survive, there will be playing to survive. And I think that this is the only chance to win something because football quality of Legia and football quality of Chelsea, no, you cannot compare that. We see the quality of of the players in league every week, in cup every 3 days. Legia is playing recently, and this quality can't be compared to Chelsea's quality. But I think that the stadium, the atmosphere, and the approach to that game, that are the factors that can make a difference.
Well, a counter argument to that would be this is the only chance Chelsea have to win a trophy now, and they haven't won a trophy since 2021, which for a club of their size is not good enough. And let's not forget the fact that Legia still have the Polish Cup final to be thinking about. So that's the counter argument I'd make to that. But obviously, the occasion of this match is far greater for Legia than Chelsea, in my opinion.
But you have to remember that for Chelsea playing against Legia, it's like for Legia playing against 4 division team. You will never be 100% focused, 100% concentrated, and 100% motivated. Polish players will be because for Legia, facing Chelsea is like facing for Chelsea, I don't know, Real Madrid, 5 Real Madrid. So this is that kind of a. Of course, Chelsea wants to win the Conference League, but you won't convince me that when they were playing against Copenhagen maybe, but the teams like Shamrock, I think Noah from Armenia, that they were focused for 100% because they weren't. That's for sure. They will be focused for 100% when they will be fighting for Premier League or in Champions League. Yeah, then they will be. But in Warsaw, there's no chance that they will have the same approach as Polish players.
Which brings us to the final point about the approach, not only about the honor of the club of Legia and Chelsea, but there is one final aspect that I would like to touch on in this special episode, and that is the country coefficients. And that is yet another reason why Legia will be super motivated to bring the best result possible, even to snatch just one small victory, because one small victory will contribute to the coefficient. What's important is that Poland now currently sits in top 15 of the European leagues, which in 2 seasons' time will grant us us the Poles, that is, three teams in Champions League qualifiers, which
Two teams in Champions League
teams.
qualifiers, one team in Europa League, and two in Conference League. So for us, this is a huge change because for the Polish clubs, qualifications to the European Cups were much more difficult than playing in this European Cups. It's strange, but it's true. But now, when you have two places in Champions League, you have to win only one game against one team to qualify at least to Conference League. When you qualify to Conference League, you play in Europe. When you play in Europe, you have really good money. For our values, because for Chelsea winning the Conference League, it's not significant amount of money. For us, every victory in Conference League is significant amount of money. So if you have more money, you can take more players, and you can see it even now. Extraclass is really developing. I know that for English people, it may sound stupidly, but we have great stadiums. Those stadiums are for the teams plays way better than they used to play 10 years ago, and we really have good players. We did some transfers for 2.5 million. I know that in English Premier League 2 million it's nothing, but for us is last record breaking transfer from above those current era was, I think, 1 million euros. Now we can buy players for 2.5 million. Legia, Lech, the biggest teams in Poland, they can invest significant amount of money. So it will change anything. This 15th place we got in European competitions in UEFA ranking, it's huge for all the Polish fans.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Those were two teams in Champions League and 5 teams overall in Europe. Of course, I stand corrected. So I guess you can see now, Louis, why this tie with Chelsea, and of course, in the meantime, another tie of Jagiellonia Białystok taking on Real Betis. Why they are so important for the Polish football fans.
Well, that point that Kuba made at the end really did drive it home. I already knew how much of a huge occasion this is for any team in Europe, one outside of the top 5 leagues, let alone outside of the top 10. It is to be playing against a big Premier League giant. But yeah, I will definitely be supporting Legia for this one. I don't like Chelsea particularly anyway, and I always fancy the underdog. And what a story it would be for Legia to make it to the Conference League semi-finals, and they have the chance. And I honestly think, I agree with you, Kuba, I don't see Chelsea winning in Legia. I can see them just underestimating as soon as they play anyone decent or anyone who makes a huge opponent. Like in this case, I just think the home advantage for Legia will be too much, but I can't wait to watch the match, and best of luck to Legia.
So, oh yeah, sorry, Kuba, go on.
No, because maybe at the end I would say one thing to describe the atmosphere on these European games. I remember the games against Aston Villa. Legia won 3-2 against Aston Villa, and when Legia was leading 3-2, we have a left back. He's not very skillful, to be honest. He's an average player in Extraclass, and he's not technical. His name is Patryk Kun. And I remember the moment when Legia was leading 3-2, and Patryk Kun made a tackle, and he took the ball from Aston Villa player. And believe me, the roar after tackle was louder than the roar after the goal in league. So you can imagine how these European games taste in Warsaw. This is unimaginably I can even
Unimaginable.
Unimaginable.
Yeah, definitely. I was looking for that word. Yeah, but it's hard to explain, hard to imagine what does it mean for the people and for the players who are involved in those games.
And actually, just to maybe not to add salt to the wound, but just one ironic thing. Just how much Polish club fans and overall Polish football fans crave those European nights. is, for example, the fact that the last time there was Champions League, that there was basically any Champions League game held in Legia Warsaw Stadium was the game of Shakhtar Donetsk. That was the only reason why, was because Shakhtar Donetsk could not play in Ukraine because of the war going on in the country.
Wow.
So I think this is actually clear enough as to why, just bringing on some other teams from other countries. Of course, like Ukrainian club, they are in need because there's war going on. But still, Champions League being brought by the Ukrainian team to Warsaw, it's really, I think it's really disrespectful to the legacy of the Polish football, in a way that Polish clubs should have done better in those other previous years, but now they are doing better. And of course, I just cannot hope for any other result than a nice, maybe slight 1-0 victory, just to bring those hearts up of the Legia fans. How about your predictions, Kuba? What do you think? First leg.
I can compromise myself saying anything, but as I mentioned to you, I think that Legia is not going to lose the first game. In 2-leg games, there's no chance. Let's be honest. For 99.9%, there's no chance. But I think this first game has everything to become something really significant in Legia newest history. I think Legia is not going to lose. For Legia, even a draw against such a good team like Chelsea would be something good.
Louis?
I'm saying this out of want more than logic, but I'd like to see. I think it will be 2-0 Legia in the first leg, and I think I do think Chelsea will run away with it in the second leg, but I can see 2-0 to Legia, and then they'll go to Stamford Bridge very, very defensively, and then I think Chelsea, once they get one goal, then another one goes in shortly afterwards. It'll be one of those. But I'm hoping that doesn't happen. I'm hoping Legia get enough done in the first leg for it to be put away in the second leg.
Okay, so I'll do something that I thought that I would never do, and I will say this. If Legia manages to eliminate Chelsea, and if they are to proceed to the semi-finals of Conference League, then Louis, you come up with a challenge that I have to perform at the opening of the review episode, and I have to do it.
Oh.
If you want me to take my shirt off, if you want me to, I don't know, make a
no one wants to see that, mate. No one wants to see that.
I know, I get it. But if you want me to do anything extravagant, please run your imagination wild. Please just do not make me, shave my hair, any from any.
I won't do that.
Thank you.
So if Legia win or if Chelsea win?
If Legia proceeds to the semi-finals of Conference League.
You can end up like Gary Lineker in one studio.
Yes.
Just in underwear.
My underwear isn't so classy. Come on, man. I can't do that.
Is getting a tattoo too far?
Or perhaps my wife will kill me if I get it. You'll think of something. And until then, guys, stay tuned, because there are some good times happening. And luckily and hopefully, if Chelsea wins, then we'll be able to continue with reviewing their games in Europe. But if Legia win, oh my god, you'll be able to see one of the most epic review episodes after this return against Stamford Bridge. Jakub Jeleński, thank you so much for being a part of our special episode today. Thank you
guys.
again.
It was a pleasure. I hope that I managed to say anything meaningful and anything good.
Bowing down.
It was actually my first time ever speaking about Legia in English, so that's a huge moment.
Well done, mate. Very good English.
Well,
I've thought of something
exactly.
for you, Michał. Just quickly, you can down a Tajski next time. I don't know if I mispronounced that. The name of that Polish beer.
Aha! Oh my goodness. Okay, we're gonna have to clear up of the. Thank you so much, guys. Subscribe, follow us, and we'll hear you and see you in the next one. Cheers.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.